everyone, welcome back to BukkyOTv. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn the bell notification on. So anytime we upload new video onto YouTube, you will be notified. Thank you.
Things that can be done to avert such ugly incidents in our society. The first thing is that the builders will ensure that they use standard materials. The problem is that they don't use standard materials. Look at, there are some buildings that they are over 50 years and they are still standing. They are not even sinking because they use standard materials. But when builders refuse to use, when they continue to use substandard materials, it's responsible for collapsed building. And also government has a role to play. I understand that particular building at the airline has been marked for demolition. They only mark it and leave it. So there should be implementation. Government should try to implement their policies. If there is a policy in place that when a building is sinking, it should be demolished, and it is marked for demolition, they should follow it up so that they demolish it. But as the builders have their own role to play, government also has its own role to play. So I think those are the things that will avert such situations. Because if you look at it, it's not only in Lagos. After some days that it happened in Lagos, another one happened in Ibadan. And it's only here in Nigeria that you see things like that. Then another thing that can be done is that there are some people that they are untouchable, influential people, politicians. Such a building that was marked for demolition, you see that they have some people that are in the government, they will not allow it to happen. So I think we should go back to the drawing board so that everybody who has a role to play that role. I think that will help us a lot. Government should rise up to its responsibility. They should make sure, that when buildings are marked for demolition, they should follow it up and then demolish it. That's my advice. So when proposals are made, they should be followed up, they should be implemented.
Government has a responsibility to protect lives and property. And when issues like that happens, it shows clearly that there is lapses on the part of the government, which of course I would say has failed in her responsibility to, giving the best to the masses. And of course, when issues like that happen, for victims who survived the act should be adequately taken care of. And the government should ensure that they are first and foremost, alive and healthy. And again, government would need to go back to the drawing board and look at those people who are doing this construction. Have they been licensed? And of course, if they are licensed, are they professionals? And are they doing this work as it ought to be? Now, when all of these things are put in place, then we have a better Nigeria.
The causes of that problem is from the developers. They use invalid materials to build that house. Then the owners, the developer supposed to advise the owners, look, this thing you want to do here is not suitable to this area. One, the ground may be a soft ground that not supposed to carry such weight. And if you carry a heavy weight, there will be problem on the ground. And that is the cause. The government now should do something. One, they should do something to remove those people in Lagos Central to another place so that there will be a space of building houses instead of molding everything together in the same place. If you see the distance between a building A and B, you see it's very close. There's no distance, no breeze. So the government should rebuild a place for those people in Lagos. Yes, the government is at fault. If they mark a building for demolition, they must be, if they mark a building for demolition, they will give a notice, either for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or a month or 3 months notice. After that 3 months or 2 months or 2 weeks, if that something is not done, then the government is authorized by law to demolish such building. If the government has taken care of their own area, such thing will not happen. The lives of those children will not be taken away like that. but because of the negligence of the Lagos State government on the part of the people concerned, that is why that thing happened.
The house collapsed and it was already marked. If this one had not happened, one would think that one is enjoying life or trying to make money, you know, by not attending to the marked house. Why didn't government have taken, you know, step as early as they marked it? It's not right. Why did they delay it that we had to lose so many lives? Because it's only because I have left that area for such a long time. If not, I would have known part of those that passed on, that died in the incident. I don't like it. It is not right that the government, why did they delay? What was it? What was it? If they took 10 million bribe to, you know, to spare that house, does it recover the lives of those that passed on? It's not right. When government says something, let them take quick action. The action was too slow. The man had already possibly given them whatever, and he had been spared to go on with his business, which was at the detriment of, you know, of people, those scholars, those pupils, those students in the collapse. Is that house fit for a school? Is it fit for a school? Let's see it together. What is happening? It's very wrong. But it's nothing but poverty that is troubling everybody. Poverty.
Actually, the whole issue should be going to the Nigeria Society of Engineers. That's where the problem lies. Because in building a particular house, it must be under specification. The Nigeria Society of Engineers knows the specification for every building. So all those things supposed to be the Federal Ministry of Works, State Ministry of Works should supervise every building, or what do you call it, Ministry of Lands and Housing. All of them should supervise before the building, even from the foundation level. That's where the problem lies. So I'm urging the ministry concerned and the Nigerian Society of Engineers, the Korean, all of them should be involved in this issue so that the further damages will be averted.
They have the regulatory body, the Lagos State Building Control Agency. So I guess if they did their job well, we shouldn't be having issues of collapsed building. Like the one they said it collapsed at Lagos Island. I heard it was marked. So when it was marked, why didn't they pursue everybody then demolish the building? So I believe everything still boils down to the government, because men naturally, you know, we like cutting corners, but the government is there to prevent that from happening. So if they are really up to their job, I guess that will be eliminated. The welfare of the citizens should be uppermost in their mind. So if they say a building is not fit for human habitation, then they shouldn't cut corners. You can imagine how many people lost their lives, lost their means of livelihood and stuff like that, and they always blame government for everything. And also, the developers, they should have the fear of God. Have the fear of God. If you're going to develop a building, use quality material. You don't know who might be in that house. Maybe your child will live in that house one of these days. So, the government, the developers, and we shouldn't keep quiet when we see stuff like that. The neighbors. If you see a building that is marked, thank God everybody is on social media. You send messages. The regulatory agency should put their addresses, their handles, make it public. So if I see something, I'll say something. I believe that will help a lot, go a long way.
Well, the truth of the matter is, if the necessary measures are put in place, you have the right system in place, things like this are not supposed to occur. In a more civilized country, Nigeria is not as civilized as we claim to be. For instance, the Itafaji building collapse. Look at the number of lives that were lost. Meanwhile, that house has been earmarked for demolition for a long time. You have other buildings like that in that area. The officials who are responsible know about these things. They are not ignorant of this. So this kind of thing happening in the country only tells you that the wrong people are in the right place. And if they are supposed to have necessary thing being done and the right people are in the right place, houses like that ought to have been brought down for long. It's not when you have a catastrophic situation, that's when everybody starts running helter-skelter. We need to put the right things in the right perspective and do the right thing at the right time. Once this is done, I don't think we'll be experiencing this kind of situation. Nigeria is long overdue for these things not to happen. Now everybody's shouting, everybody's crying, people are committing suicide over the loss of their children. It's not supposed to be like that. If the country wants to experience progress in things like this, let the right thing be done at the right time. I learned that some houses too were marked for demolition in that area, and they're trying to pull those houses down. These things ought to have been done long before now. It's not until lives are being lost before we start doing the right thing that we're supposed to do. Let the right things be done at the right time to avoid this kind of situation. You and I cannot feel the pains of those parents that lost their children because none of our own kids were involved. So, and we don't pray to lose loved ones, especially children. It's not a palatable situation. We just pray that the right people who are in the right place do the right things at the right time so that Nigeria can make progress. We are tired of stories.
I believe that the panacea to this particular problem is a regulating agency to be serious with what they are doing. And the issue of kickback and kick front should be avoided. Like the one that collapsed, we were told that they've been marked. And unfortunately, they did not carry out the demolition until this thing occurred. So what I'm trying to say, the regulatory agency should be prepared to carry out their duty to the last letter and without collecting anything from the people. And this one will solve the problem. I believe this is the panacea to it. Thank you.
Well, I feel government should just maybe do the right thing by making sure that whatever building that is being built, they should make sure the architect or the construction company does the thing with the right materials and all. That's what I just feel. As in, they should use the right material to build the right building, to build the buildings.
It's so unfortunate. And this kind of thing happens consistently, years after years, particularly in Lagos State. You see, all those houses in Lagos, most of them has been built before even my father was born, so to say. Maybe some of them in the 40s, in the 30s, thereabouts. And they are in a littoral region where there's water under. So they are already old, and you find that people are continuing building over and over upon it. They continue putting other stories on it, and then it's sinking and it's weak. It continues. These are the things government should stop. In fact, the whole of that place, if we want to, if all things being equal, should be demolished and government build another other buildings and then compensate people. Those who can buy and allocate it to people. They should disallow people from building on top of those old buildings and making them stories. That's the major things I see there. Otherwise, as they say, sorry for the language, shit happens. You cannot preclude all eventualities in life, but at least we can minimize all these kind of sad incidents. Anything that says that is linked to government, they are supposed to know this. If I know it, I am speaking in the mind of most sane Nigerians. If you go there, you see people building on top of dilapidated building that has been weak for years for selfish economic reasons. And the government turn the other eyes. It's not good. So the buck stop at government's table, if we must say the truth.
Thank you so much for watching BukkyOTv. Do not forget to comment below, share this video, and click on that subscribe button. And remember to tap the notification bell so you will be notified anytime we upload a new video onto YouTube. Until I come your way again, stay beautifully blessed.